I'm back.
Are we recording?
Live sound check, presentation laptop. Sound check, clerk's laptop. Hold on. It's not letting me auto start it. Okay, everyone, we need to do another live sound check. So we are going to do a sound check, clerk's laptop, clerk's laptop check. Sound check, presenter laptop.
Hello, counselors. Just a reminder to ensure you are in the special or in the council eScribe council meeting for September 10th. Thank you.
Can you hear me now? All right. Okay. All right. Good afternoon. I would like to call this special meeting of City Council to order. The City of Hamilton is situated upon the traditional territories of the Erie, Neutral, Huron-Wendat, Haudenosaunee, and Mississaugas. This land is covered by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant, which was an agreement between the Haudenosaunee and the Anishinaabe to share and care for the resources around the Great Lakes. We further acknowledge this land is covered by the Between the Lakes Purchase, 1792, between the Crown and the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation. Today, the city of Hamilton is home to many indigenous people from across Turtle Island, North America, and we recognize that we must do more to learn about the rich history of this land so that we can better understand our roles as residents, neighbors, partners, and caretakers. Members of the public are advised that our meetings are webcast live by the City of Hamilton and temporarily archived on the city's website. As well, a reminder that all electronic devices are to be switched to a non-audible function during council meeting. I will do a roll call. Mayor Fred Eisenberger, Councillor Wilson,
Good afternoon, present.
Councillor Farr,
Here.
Councillor Nan. Councillor Nan, I think she's here. I saw you.
Good afternoon, I'm present.
Okay. Councillor Merula. I see him. He's here. Councillor Collins
I'm here, thank you.
and Councillor Jackson. Councillor Danko. Councillor Partridge. Councillor Danko? Is there? Councillor
I'm here. Thank
Okay.
you.
Councillor Whitehead. Councillor Vanderbeek.
Thank you, I'm present.
Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Johnson. I see Councillor Ferguson. Councillor Pearson. And Councillor Clark.
Here.
Okay, thank you. Madam Clerk, are there any changes to the agenda?
No, Miss Acting Mayor, there are no changes to the agenda.
Okay, thank you. Councillor Vanderbeek, may I please have a motion to waive the rules for the addition of notice motion? Read matter in Dundas to a special council agenda.
I'll move it.
May I have a motion to approve the agenda as amended? Councillor Pearson, is there any discussion on the agenda? I don't see any. Yeah. So we have to vote 2/3 majority. I already said. And the vote, we have to indicate our vote now? Okay, your vote? I'm voting now. I just was looking. And who else? Okay, Councillor Marula? He voted. And Councillor Wilson? Thumbs up? Okay, and it's carried. Okay, declaration of interest. Members of council, are there any declaration of interest? I see none. Okay, we're going to go to 3 motions. Federal and provincial government municipal funding announcement update citywide. Councillor Ferguson, please introduce your motion.
Yeah, just before I do that, I wonder whether Mike Zagarek would like to give a brief overview of what I'm about to move.
Great. Mike?
Good afternoon, through you, Madam Deputy Mayor. The motion before you seeks to provide the General Manager of Finance Corporate Services the authority to execute agreements regarding the July 26th provincial announcement in partnership with the federal government for funding under the Safe Restart program. You may recall this program is intended to provide up to $4 billion in funding to municipalities in order for municipalities to continue to deliver essential services. The funding, the first phase of the funding, which was announced on August 12th of this year, provides $1.65 billion to Ontario municipalities in one-time funding, emergency funding. It's broken up into two envelopes. The first envelope is for transit and those municipalities who have responsibility for transit operations, and the second allocation is a more general allocation for the safe reopening restart for municipalities, and this includes costs surrounding PPE, some foregone revenues as it relates to COVID, and just more broadly, overall COVID-related costs. As it relates to the transit envelope, the City of Hamilton's allocation in the first round, the first phase of funding, was just in excess of $17 million, about $17.2 million. And with respect to the broader municipal financial impacts, the second envelope, the city's allocation is $27.6 million, bringing a total of approximately $44 million in this first phase of funding. So again, the motion before you seeks to provide the general manager the authority to execute agreements and letters. These were found as attachments to the report that went to GIC yesterday. The first agreement is in response to Minister Mulroney's correspondence, identifying some criteria surrounding the transit funding as to eligible costs, including foregone revenues, the cost of PPE, and other COVID-related costs. The second agreement is in response to correspondence from Minister Clark as it relates to other municipal financial impacts related to COVID. So again, what is before you is to provide staff, the general manager, the authority to execute those agreements in order for the municipality to access those funds, and that would assist the municipality with respect to our 2020 financial performance. And through you, Madam Deputy Mayor, if there's any questions, happy to try to answer those questions.
And Mike, just to be clear, I'll place the motion here in a sec, but you're going to be reporting on whether we're above or below the line on our cost to cover COVID with this grant, are you, at a future date?
Yeah, so through you, Madam Deputy Mayor, in fact, we are scheduled to be before General Issues Committee September 23rd with an update. It is our first variance report for 2020. While we provided two COVID-related financial impact reports to Committee of the Whole and General Issues Committee, our first variance forecast for 2020 is coming before GIC on September 23rd, and we hope to include these funding announcements and to provide council with some sense as to where that puts us as it relates to 2020.
Okay, so what I'll do then, Madam Chair, is I'll put the motion now. So it's moved by myself and seconded by Councillor Jackson regarding the federal and provincial municipal funding announcements update. A, that the General Manager of Finance and Corporate Services be authorized and directed to execute and submit the funding acknowledgement letters for the Safe Restart program, including the letter attached as Appendix A to report FCS 20071 and any supporting documentation to support the Hamilton funding allocation under the Safe Restart program, and Part 2 that staff be directed to prepare and execute, submit any required documentation to support the City of Hamilton funding allocation under the Safe Restart Program. And a second again by Councillor Jackson.
Thank you, Councillor Ferguson. And we're going to vote, and I'm sure it's going to pass. We need it. Thank you. Okay. So please indicate your vote now. Councillor, we're good? Okay. Thank you. All right. 3.2, Municipal Affairs and Housing Social Service Relief Fund Phase 2. Councillor Sam Murilla, please introduce your motion. Second by
Yeah, seconded by Councillor Collins, and the motion is before you. And if there's any questions, feel free to ask.
Okay. Is there any questions? Okay, it was second by Councillor Nan. So
Oh,
if it's
sorry,
okay.
no problem. Okay, no problem.
Okay, no problem. Okay, Councillor Nan seconded, and there's no speakers, so we will vote now. It's been working great today. Comes up right away. Thank you. Everybody voted? Okay, thank you. 4.1, interim control bylaw, Pleasant View area. Councillor Vanderbeek, may I please have your motion to waive the rules?
Thank you. Can you hear me? Yes, thank you.
Yes.
So moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Brad Clark, that the rules of order be waived to allow the introduction of a motion respecting the interim control bylaw for the Pleasant View area in Dundas.
All right. First of all, is there any discussion on the motion? Councillor Nan.
Just curious where I would see the notice of motion. It's not in eScribe.
Clerk? Yes.
Can we send it out by email to everyone to make sure everyone's got it?
It is printed, so we will send it by email.
Thank you. I got it now.
You got it? Everybody has it?
Mm-hmm.
Great. They all have it. Okay. And please, we need a 2/3 majority is required on this vote. So please indicate your vote now.
And Madam Chair, this is the vote to waive the rules.
Yes.
To be able to address it, to make it a motion.
Right. Okay. Councillor Nan, can you vote, please?
Sorry, I was just reading the motion. It's my first time seeing it.
All right. So it's a couple of minutes and okay, so Councillor Vanderbeek now, would you please present your motion?
Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I just want to preface it for a moment with, I mean, I can read the whereases, and I will because you don't have the motion. But the Pleasant View area has been under several layers of provincial control, along with municipal control since 1973, which have direct influence on what you can do there development-wise. And And so we passed a motion last year to have staff work with the Niagara Escarpment Commission staff, the ministry staff, as they are, to petition the minister for putting Pleasant View under the development control under the Niagara Escarpment Plan, which was implemented there in July of 2013. And so we're getting close now, and there is some urgency to bringing this to today's meeting. And so I will read you the whereas. Whereas the Pleasant View area of Dundas has had more than 45 years of layered provincial and local planning policy and regulations directing development in the area. And whereas in July of 2013, the Niagara Escarpment Plan Amendment number 179 received ministerial approval, bringing the Pleasant View area into the Niagara Escarpment Plan. Whereas Section 38 of the Planning Act and the numbers that go with it, as amended, permits a council of a municipality to pass an interim control bylaw where the council has directed that a review or a study be undertaken in respect to land use planning policies within the municipality or in any defined area or areas thereof. Whereas the city will be undertaking a land use study in respect of land use policies and future underlying zoning bylaw regulations to ensure the rural Hamilton official plan and the underlying zoning bylaws are in conformity with provincial policies, including the Niagara Escarpment Plan and the future development control for lands within the Pleasant View area of the former town of Dundas. And whereas City Council at its meeting of September 11th of 2019, item 7.2 approved the following direction. It was letter D. The staff be directed to work with the Niagara Escarpment Commission staff to petition the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry to put the Pleasant View survey lands under development control as soon as possible. And whereas an interim control bylaw will allow the city to undertake and complete the aforementioned studies and work with the Ministry of Natural Resources and Forestry to put the Pleasant View survey lands under development control. Now therefore be it resolved that the Council of the Corporation of the City of Hamilton enact an interim control bylaw attached as Appendix A to restrict the use of lands identified on the schedule attached to the interim control bylaw for a period of 1 year pending the completion of the planning studies in respect to land use policies and zoning bylaw regulations for the Pleasant View area. So, I am moving this. Councillor Brad Clark is seconding it. And we are at a point now where we need to be sure that things are in line in order to move forward to get that under development control. So I'm asking you as my colleagues to support me in allowing us to put this interim control bylaw on. It really is for, does have some exemptions in it so that it won't stop all development, but it will stop someone from being able to take on new development in areas where we're not sure that the zoning and the official plan match.
Thank you. Is there any other question? Is there any questions? Councillor Clark?
Thank you, Madam Chair. Council will likely recall that there was an issue with a house that was built in the Pleasant View area where the planning staff in essence said that, yep, they could sign off on the building permit. And so the gentleman went and built the house, and yet the building of that house was in an area where the province has said no housing could be built. And so there was confusion between what the building staff and what our own planning staff were saying. So when our planning staff looked at the Pleasant View area, they realized that there were some issues. One was that the Niagara Escarpment Commission should have it under development control. The staff at the NEC agree to that, but we need to reach out to the ministry to get that in place. But we also found that there was a lack of conformity between provincial policies and municipal policies and our own planning policies. And so the suggestion has been made that an interim control bylaw would be prudent that would enable our staff to do the review of all of those zoning and come forward with a plan for this area which matched up with the provincial policies as well as our own official plan and our zoning bylaws. The interim control bylaw is for a 1 year period, at which time the study has to be completed. If the study is not completed within that timeline, the city can extend it for another 12-month period, but that's it. So we have limited time in which we can actually get all of our ducks lined up, to use a colloquial term. Is Mr. Thorne present today?
I'm not sure.
Yes, I am.
Jason Thorne, okay.
Thank you. So, Mr. Thorne, can you just confirm that the planning staff support this proposal, this motion that is before us, and give us some brief comments on it, please, sir?
Yes, I can, through you, Madam Chair, and I think the two councillors have actually summarized it really quite well. What this interim control bylaw will do, and we provided some assistance to Councillor Vanderbeek in crafting it, is to provide a interim restriction on certain forms of development while we review those matters that Councillor Clark just mentioned in terms of some inconsistencies potentially between the city zoning instruments and the Niagara Escarpment Plan. This provides for some time either to bring the lands under NEC development control or to update the city's zoning, or to do both to make sure that there is consistency there. With an interim control bylaw, you can, as a council, allow certain types of development to still proceed. And so that's what's spelled out in the bylaw. For example, if you're doing something that expands the building footprint by less than 20%, that can still proceed. So this won't affect someone if they want to put a deck on their property or a porch. Accessory buildings like sheds, things like that can still go ahead. So it's only more significant forms of development, such as new construction, that would be limited by the bylaw.
Thank you very much. And a supplementary question to Mr. Thorne. And I hadn't shared this with him, so he's not expecting this, but I'm wondering whether or not it would be wise or prudent that we add to this motion forwarding a copy of the interim control bylaw to the NEC so that they're aware that we have done this.
So through you, Madam Chair, that can be made explicit, although we do have under the Planning Act, once a council adopts a bylaw, there is a requirement to then provide notice of the adoption of the bylaw. So the NEC would be informed at that point that council has adopted this bylaw. So that would be one of our requirements under the Act.
Perfect. Thank you very much. I fully support this, and I was pleased to second it. Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, any more discussion on this matter? I don't see none, so let's indicate by your vote, please. Okay, and it passes. Bylaws and bylaw. Councillor Pearson, may I have a motion on the bill?
Yes, you may. Just give me 1 second. Here we go.
Okay.
Okay, so it's moved by myself, seconded by Councillor Jason Farr, that bill number 20-186 be passed and that the corporate seal be affixed thereto, and that the bylaw be numbered, be signed by the mayor and the city clerk to read as follows. 20-186 to confirm the proceedings of city council.
Thank you. And is there any discussion? Oh,
is there an amendment because of that motion?
Okay. It doesn't.
Hi all, this is Alicia Davenport from Clerks. Just wanting to advise that there will be an amendment since we did approve the interim control bylaw. So the new motion would be that bill number 20-186 and 20-187 be passed and that the corporate seal be affixed thereto.
Thank you for catching that, Alicia. As soon as I finished reading, I went, wait a minute, there should be another one. Thank you.
Okay, there's two. All right, so we have that cleared. So we have to indicate by a vote.
Yep. Okay.
And it passes. And colleagues, the most important one, the adjournment. Can I have Councillor Samarula and Councillor Farr? Thank you.
Excellent. Voting.
And we'll see. Yes, thank you. Let's vote.
I support adjournment, but I've already deleted my e-scribe.
You were fast.
Y'all didn't vote fast enough.
That's right. Well, we'll see you tomorrow, everyone. Okay,
Thanks,
thank you.
everyone.
All
Bye
right.
now.
Thank you. Have a great weekend. Bye-bye.